Okay, tell me when they're done. be seated. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is an ongoing process, and we have made a determination up to this point on some of you who will be reporting back on Thursday at 1:30 to continue the jury selection process. Even the numbers that are called, you're not on the jury yet, but you're just going to be in a pool in which you will actually identified and selected. But before I ask jury management to identify you, we're going to get some additional instructions that some of you still will need to be questioned, along with some others who will be coming back tomorrow. I'm going to give you these instructions to everyone, although you may or may not be coming back once we do the actual jury selection. But for those who will be returning, it is very important for you not to discuss the case at this point in time or allow anyone to discuss the case with you. Obviously, you've been here a good part of the day. You have significant loved ones and people you're going to be interacting with when you leave here today, and they're going to ask, and this is human nature. At this point, just tell them you just here for jury service, but don't go into any other details other than that at this point in time, because I don't want you to formulate any fixed opinions about anything at this point in time. Once those particular individuals are identified and certain instructions are provided to them, you'll be given certain instructions and a letter actually when to report back, and I will give you additional instructions. Now, those individuals, once you're released for the day, don't remain on the floor, because I want you to go ahead and leave the building. I don't want you to interact with anyone you shouldn't interact with. Although you're wearing your particular numbers now in the jury badges, I will, at the conclusion of this presentation or interaction, ask you to remove those, because when you go outside the building, I don't want you to interact with anyone who may try to approach you. I don't say they will, but may approach you with the media, because you will not be able to talk with them or interact with them at this level. It is very important for those who will be given the opportunity and be invited back for you not to read or look at the media coverage pertaining to this case. Do not go upon the internet and do any independent research about this case. Do not blog about this case while it's ongoing. Do not go to any location that may or may not have been made reference to. All the evidence eventually will come in the form of sworn testimony from this witness stand and on any physical evidence that is introduced during the course of the trial. When I tell you to report back, if you want to bring something to snack on in or eat during the actual selection process, you may. Also, on that particular day when you do report back, do not consume any alcoholic beverages during the lunch break prior to coming in here. And also, if I can strongly encourage you not to overindulge with any substances you utilize to relax this evening or tomorrow evening either. You're more than welcome to check your messages and our cell phones and our iPhones to make sure, obviously you got to stay in contact with the world, but I don't want you receiving or sending any messages that may or may not be pertaining to this case, and I don't want you expressing any opinion about this case or others or anyone of that nature. I've mentioned earlier the lawyers are part of the litigants, and anyone who's officially involved in this case cannot talk or interact with you about this particular case. I know sometimes you will hear me say things that sound a bit redundant about A, report times and locations, but it's just important that you know where you need to report to and the time, and that you obey those rules, because the whole idea of this entire process is to make sure that a fair trial is conducted with fair and impartial jurors. That's all we're doing. And if I did not thank you, I would thank you again for your time and 7 seconds. I know you came on Friday, filled out questionnaires, you've been here with me today, and some of you will have the opportunity and the privilege to come back with me on Thursday at 1:30. And I look forward to seeing some of you then and there, okay? With that said, jury management will assist me, Jay. In addition to, before Jay, can you come around this way for one other? Yes. Let's go. Just come on, let's go.
Jeff Hellinger here again outside the DeKalb County Courthouse. You are watching live streaming coverage of the case against Andrea Sneiderman and jury selection, which is beginning to wrap up here on this second day. The expectation is tomorrow and Thursday we'll wrap all of this up. Judge Adams has said 1:30 on Thursday is his deadline for trying to have a seated jury of 12 jurors and 3 alternates. They are at 33 right now qualified jurors. They need to have an eventual pool of 40. There has been a lot of questions today about, whether people have a bias in this case or not, that it has received so much attention. Each and every juror has been questioned about whether he or she has been following this case and whether they have a preconceived notion of Andrea Sneiderman's either guilt or innocence. That has been a major thrust to the questioning today by the attorneys. Also the issue of personal problems, whether it's issues professional or personal that would preclude those potential jurors of serving for what could be a 2 or 3 week long court proceedings. So that is what we are monitoring right now. We are about an hour and 20 minutes away from our newscast at 6 o'clock to give you a complete update. You can also go to 11alive.com. It is there that you will be able to check out a lot of the information, and might I also suggest that you check out the tweets of R.J. Watson and Julie Wolf, as well as Paul Crawley and Doug Richards, who continue to monitor the questions and the going-ons in this high-profile case that's going on in DeKalb County. Let's go back to Judge Gregory A. Adams right now.
And you're number 68.
All right, those individuals up to 68. Individuals who are numbers 70 and higher who are still here. You're going to, because you have not been questioned yet, and that's have to do something else right now, but you're going to report back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, straight at 8:30 to continue the questioning, okay? You're not released, so there's instructions about not discussing the case or interacting with anyone. They apply to you still, okay? You're going to report back at 8:30, like in the area where you were this morning, this afternoon, excuse me, to continue, okay? Those individuals who have the letters, all right, so you go ahead and give them their letters. And all those individuals who are receiving letters now from Don and jury management, you're going to report back tomorrow based on that letter so we can continue questioning. Now, like I said, we're doing it in 2 phases, and hopefully everyone understands. Okay. Don, just approach for 1 quick second.
Defense attorneys once again approaching the bench of Judge Gregory A. Adams, and we are getting toward the end of today's jury selection. As you can hear, told the jurors that are still part of the pool that will be questioned tomorrow by both sides that will commence at 9 a.m. So we will have another full day as they attempt to seat a jury. It's been somewhat interesting to watch Andrea Sneiderman today as well during breaks, as she has been animated, seemingly of good humor, and at various times joyous, laughing with her defense attorneys and some of those friends and family members who are also in the courtroom as well. That has been one of the interesting issues to certainly check out today. Attorney Bill Martin will be with me in about an hour and 15 minutes to give his thoughts and observations about today's activity inside the courtroom as they are trying to select a jury. Questions about George Zimmerman and race certainly have remained at the forefront as well. It's been one of the issues that have been discussed. And I suppose, I think if you are just joining us now and looking for one of the headlines of the day, I think some people might be surprised that are not involved, at least in the legal system, on a day-to-day basis or even a week-to-week basis, that a high-profile case such as this, which has really been in the forefront of a lot of media coverage here in Atlanta and North Georgia since November of 2010, when Rusty Sneiderman was gunned down in the Dunwoody daycare parking lot. And that is, people have followed this case closely, yet many of the jurors who were questioned today said they have not come to any kind of definitive conclusion about the guilt or innocence of Andrea Sneiderman. So that has certainly been one of the issues today that has gotten all of our attention. I think yesterday, on the first day of jury selection, it was a question that we posed not only of Judge Glenda Hatchett with DeMarco Morgan last night at 7 o'clock, and I also had Steve Burnt, who is a well-known criminal defense attorney here in Atlanta over the last 30 years, whether you could field a jury that would remain unbiased on this subject. And we speculated about that last night. Today, there has been living proof that indeed that there are a significant number of people, at least in this prospective jury pool, that have not drawn any conclusions from the information that they have been able to ascertain over the last 2.5 years as it relates to the death of Rusty Sneiderman. So those are some of the issues that have certainly come to the forefront today. There was one instance where a juror said that she was a member of the same church that the district attorney attended. She said she had not seen him in church recently. That's one of the more interesting exchanges that we had heard as well. So many people were saying that it would prevent such a hardship for them to be away from not only their family, but their occupations as well, if they would be sequestered as part of this jury in the Andrea Sneiderman case. So let's go back to Judge Gregory A. Adams right now as he puts up the final wrap on day 2 of jury selection.
With the media representatives, the cameraman, Mr. Richards, and Mr. Mike Patnick.
He had to go down for a live shot.
Okay, that's fine. Who's representing WSB? Come on, that's fine. This is something, just come up if you don't mind. Sure. And we go on the record with these, but I don't think so.
And I'm Jeff Hullinger again outside of the courthouse here in DeKalb County in downtown Decatur, where we will be following the events, and we will be online and also on our digital channel giving you a stream of information of these proceedings, not only today and tomorrow and the next day, but also during the duration of this trial, no matter how long it may be. There has been a lot of talk today about how long this case might be. Yesterday we spoke with a couple of attorneys who had told us they believed that it would be about a week and a half. But today we heard some of the attorneys speaking and telling those in the courtroom that they believe that this will be 3 weeks from the period when evidence is first submitted. So that would be 3 weeks conceivably from this coming Monday. Again, we do not know when that evidence element of this trial will commence. We don't know if that's going to happen on Friday. We know that the jury is expected to be seated, as Judge Adams has said, by 1:30 on Thursday. So at the earliest, the trial itself with the evidence could commence on Friday, or there could be the weekend break, and then it could start on Monday. So if you're talking about 3 weeks from Monday, you're talking about a trial that may go all the way to Labor Day, and that certainly will cause some hardship with some of those jurors or prospective jurors. As of noon today, we had 30 jurors as they have been qualified, and then by about 2:30 this afternoon we had 33, and they are trying to get to a total of 12 jurors with 3 alternates, and then you have that pool if need be. So it's a total of 40 that Judge Adams is trying to get to, and again, he said this will be in place by Thursday at 1:30. We have about 10 minutes until 5 right now, and over the course of the last 15 minutes, we have seen a lot of bantering and a lot of posturing from attorneys as they have listened to the instructions of Judge Adams inside the courtroom here at the DeKalb County Courthouse in downtown Decatur. So we are getting the final instructions as day 2 is beginning to wrap up in what has been a long and arduous path toward justice. And for many, there is the belief that justice will not be served because murder charges will not be filed against Andrea Sneiderman. They were dropped on Friday. A plea deal was offered. There is some speculation about that. Some sources have told me that a plea deal had been offered to Andrea Sneiderman of a year in jail, and that, whether true or not, has been rejected. We know that to be true. And as a result, she seeks to be exonerated in a court of law, and she is facing issues of of perjury, which in itself, if she is convicted of these charges, which will give her quite a lengthy jail term if indeed she is found guilty of obstruction of justice and she is found guilty of perjury as well. But it is her belief and the belief of her defense team that they do not want to accept any plea deal. They had sought on Friday some sort of deal with the court where they would have a delay in the proceedings of 6 months. That too was rejected, where it would begin early in 2014, and that's basically where we are today, trying to select a jury and trying to move forward to the next step in this, and that would be beginning the trial where evidence is indeed submitted by both sides. So that's where we stand. It is about 7 minutes before 5 o'clock, and the legal wrangling continues in front of Judge Adams here in the waning days of July in 2013. The murder of Rusty Sneiderman occurred in November of 2010 when he was shot after dropping off his children at the Dunwoody daycare. Emmy Newman is now serving sentence by reason of insanity. He will not be part of this trial. And we continue to see how long this will go for the remainder of the afternoon. So let's take it back inside the courtroom and Judge Adams.
All right, lawyers, we have report times back. We'll work through that. I did have a brief off-the-record conversation with the media about a concern that a citizen relayed in, and they will address those issues, and about microphone issues. Anything else from the state for the day?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Anything else from the defense?
Yeah, well, I would just like to let the record reflect that the court allowed me to sit in and listen to the court's discussion with the media at that time.
I did, and I did not prevent Mr. James and everybody else from coming up.
Yes, sir.
So, yes, sir, Mr. James.
I was out of an abundance of caution, just on the record, the court indicated that he would excuse juror number 87, who was an employee in our office, and I just want to put that on the record.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Any objection from the defense?
We concur, Your Honor.
All right, and I did let Jay know that I had given her information that Jay would not have to report back tomorrow, and I indicated, I'm sorry, Belcher. We will bring in additional jurors. We have ample supplies, and we will keep going until we get a sufficient number. All right. We're at recess. All right.
And I'm Jeff Hellinger once again outside the DeKalb County Courthouse in downtown Decatur, and that is it. The court is now in recess for the day, and they will fire up again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Again, at last count, 33 qualified jurors. They are looking for a total of 40. They will seat 12 with 3 alternates, and right now everything is in place as far as Judge Adams goes to try and have this deadline of Thursday at 1:30 to have a jury seated. Again, one of the headlines of today is trying to figure out if indeed the trial will then commence on Friday or if it will follow through on Monday. So those are the proceedings. We will have updates for you coming up in about an hour on 11 Alive. We will have Judge Hatchett along with DeMarco Morgan from our studio at 7 o'clock, and then Bill Morrison, the defense attorney, and I will be here outside the DeKalb County Courthouse with some thoughts and some analysis work from Mr. Morrison. That will be at 7 o'clock. Then at 10 on the rundown at my ATL TV, we will have the latest as well as 11 Alive at 11 o'clock. If you missed any of the proceedings today and you are wondering what exactly transpired, I have a couple of suggestions for you. One is to check out social media, Twitter, 11 Alive, as well as Facebook, and 11alive.com. There is a section of Andrea Sneiderman where you can get a lot of the analysis that we have done, some of the pieces as well as leading up to this, as well as some of the latest information. And also I suggest that if you go on Twitter, check out Jay Watson, also Julie Wolfe, Doug Richards, and Paul Crawley. All have been busily tweeting from the courthouse today. So that is the latest. We will see you coming up in about 60 minutes on 11 Alive. And until then, I'm Jeff Hullinger. Have a great evening, everyone.